Hi there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and as a first-generation Beatle fan who was struck in February of '64, this March '64 promo poster, in-store, point-of-purchase piece, if you will, from Vee-Jay Records was something really exciting to discover just recently. I came across the first one I'd ever seen, maybe you have before, but what a fun, sweet piece. And it's Vee-Jay sent it out to who knows how many stores. You never know how many they made of these things. In March of '63 to promote the new EP they were putting out. Of course, it wasn't exactly new Beatles material, was it? Vee-Jay was just proportioning all of their, what do they have, 13 or 14 Beatle tracks, repurposing, I should say, into different EPs and singles and albums all the time. But this was this poster represents, and by the way, it's double-sided. I'll turn it around. See, it's same thing both sides, without any hooks or hangers. It's 20 by 20 inches, a cardboard either display or promo poster, however you like to position it. But it was to promote the EP they released on the date of March 23rd, 1964. And what's neat is this 20 by 20 inch cardboard promo piece is actually a slight bit different than the art used, as you can see here, for the picture sleeve for the EP. I'm holding a slight color Xerox, really. This is not the actual EP. But it's always nice when the promo poster or promo piece has something a little different than the actual record release. It just makes it a little more authentic and a little more cooler. And what's nice about this is that the picture sleeve says souvenir of their visit to America, the 4-song EP. You don't have to say record because you're holding it in your hands, aren't you? But with this particular item, of course you have to say record because this is just a promo poster for a store. And see, right there above Ringo's head it says souvenir record of their visit to America. That's just really cool. Another difference is the Vee-Jay logo is in a different color. It's orange instead of blue. And it does not say the catalog number above it, which was 903, Vee-Jay EP-1-903. So that's pretty cool. And even the song titles themselves, with pink and everything, are in slightly different colors than the actual EP covers. So it's just really a fun, really nice, for me, new discovery. But again, you never know with this big world out there, as I struggle to get it exactly in the viewfinder. You know, you never know when these old things pop up. Whoops, I should also struggle to avoid the glare, shouldn't I? So you have this two-sided poster that was just put up. You know, Vee-Jay had very little budget back then. In fact, they never had very much of a budget, and so they didn't make these elaborate like motion displays like the Capitol did for Meet the Beatles. So this is sort of just a cheapy thing, you know, and I don't know if you can quite pick it up off the glare, but it's corrugated cardboard. I don't know if I can find a way to show you that, but yeah, it's actually, you know, adhered to corrugated cardboard, which is kind of funky, but that's okay. You don't really notice the corrugation when you've got it up on the wall or in a frame or something like that. And, you know, there weren't really record stores in early '64, were there? I hope somebody corrects me. Maybe there's the occasional big city, New York City or Los Angeles record store, but if you were around like I was back then, you'd buy your records at the record department of J.C. Penney's, or remember Whitefront department stores? I actually, the person who I got this from actually told me she seems to remember her mom bringing it home from a Whitefront in like the summer or fall of '64, and it had been on the wall, and she asked for it, and they said, sure, just go ahead and take it. The Beatles aren't on Vee-Jay anymore, or something like that. So that makes it even more intriguing, doesn't it? Because everything later in the Beatles' career was pretty much sent out to record stores and stuff, but things were so young and naive still. I mean, March of '64, that's still just a month after the Ed Sullivan Show debut, and you know, none of the legal stuff was tied down yet, so you had Tolly Records and Swan Records and Vee-Jay Records, and I know they were sort of associated, a couple of those, and then Capitol putting out the big stuff like I Want to Hold Your Hand, but I just love the early naivete of this and the fact that it's portraits of the four Beatles. That's really cool. So this EP, by all accounts, was released on the date of March 23rd, 1964, coincidentally or not, the same day that John Lennon's In His Own Right book was first published. And Vee-Jay was really going for the gold. You couldn't blame him at all. They also released a 45 on this exact day, a two-song traditional 45 on this day, and that was Do You Want to Know a Secret and Thank You Girl, which had its own picture sleeve. But this was interestingly first released on March 23rd in a cardboard sleeve and had the rather high, if you will, price of $1.29. not long afterwards, Vee-Jay put it back out in a paper sleeve with a regular price, list price of singles for the day. So this actually turned out to be the best-selling Beatles EP of the 1960s. They only had 3. They had 2 on Capitol, such as 4 by the Beatles. I'm not sure if they were 64 or 65, probably one of each year or something like that. But this came out, and this, by Vee-Jay's accounts, sold 1 million, or over 1 million. But what's odd is that you won't find it in the Billboard chart books. It did not chart on Billboard's charts because it was not just available at retail, it was also available through mail order promotions and I think a potato chip promotion as well. So Billboard and Record World and Cashbox just refused to chart it. They said it's a different kind of animal, it's a merchandising piece as well as a standard record release, and so it didn't chart. But of course that's neither here nor there. Who really cares? It's still a really nice semi-coveted collector's item, you know, by Beatle collectors, certainly completists. Even though they have the song several times over, they have to get this EP. And again, March 23rd, 1964, holy cow, what a week. I mean, at this point, everything was so on fire for the Beatles, but on this exact date, in 64, March 23rd, when this EP was released and when the sign was put up in stores, that week on the Billboard's Hot 100, the Beatles held down the top 4 positions. Number 1 was She Loves You, followed by I Want to Hold Your Hand, Twist and Shout, and number 4 was Please Please Me. And yes, it was the very next week when Can't Buy Me Love entered that top 5 fray, and the Beatles had all top 5 singles in the United States. Wow, what a amazing coup, obviously. And besides those top 5 records, or even the top 4, let's go back to this week of March 23rd, they had 6 other songs in the Billboard Hot 100 chart, plus a song called We Love the Beatles by some unknown, and another, A Letter to the Beatles by some unknown. So anything Beatles at this time was white hot, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful, just fabulous time for the Beatles. And by the way, on this date also, March 23rd of 64, where were the boys themselves? Over in London filming A Hard Day's Night, their first movie that changed the world. And actually on this day they started filming at the Scala Theatre, which was really some of the best scenes in the whole movie, where, you know, John does If I Fail and stuff like that. So that's pretty fun to know where they were. So did I mention that on this date this week they had the top 6 records in the Australian record chart? Maybe I'm repeating myself. I'm so excited here and everything, I'm not sure. But looking again at these song titles, it's really neat because there were 2 originals and 2 covers. And just to show how Vee-Jay was repurposing Beatles material at this point, do you realize that 3 of these songs were actually 13 months old? The 3 tracks from the first Beatles album that was recorded on February 11th, 1963. And 1 track, Ask Me Why, was actually 16 months old. Can you believe it? 16, that's an eternity back in the tumultuous 60s when the Beatles first hit. But interestingly, Ask Me Why, which was recorded like in November of 62, was designated as the lead track on this EP by Vee-Jay. And they would get no argument from me on that because I think Ask Me Why remains a classic, underrated, one of my top 10 favorite Beatles songs ever. It's fabulous. So that just makes this all the cooler, I think. Anyway, so there you have it. I doubt if you've seen one, but if you have, let me know. Or if you've seen something else from Vee-Jay or Capitol, from although most of it's well documented. But hope you enjoyed the new piece today, the new discovery, and thanks for coming by. And I look forward. I don't know if the next poster will be something never seen before, but hope to have something good for you. And one thing for sure, it'll always be fun, or I don't do it. Okay, thanks for coming by. Have a good day. Bye bye.